I cannot love this child if I don't know how to love myself. So that's when the journey started. I was just working on becoming a better mom. Better did I know, I was actually working on myself.
99 FM, this is your inspiration station. It's finally time for MYD Heart, and I told you guys I was excited about a conversation in a particular topic that I was going to have later in the day, and we're finally here. And it's this one is, I mentioned it with Sibo and Treza as well about self-love and how that topic has kind of shown itself or kind of revealed itself to me in this stage of my life as well. And my friends and I, my family, we all just kind of, the conversation always seems to come back to some sort of self-love, especially with these trying times that we've been having as a global community. And so this conversation, once again, I'm very excited to have. Now, helping individuals experience a transformation to become the best version of themselves, speaker, life coach, and author Ruth Hess recently launched her book called How to Self-Love, a 21-day step-by-step guide to love yourself and embrace who you are. And in studio this afternoon on MYD Heart is Ruth herself to tell us more. Ruth, welcome to 99.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
I'm excited about the conversation. Once again, it's one that has kept popping up, and every chance I have to have this chat, I jump at the opportunity. So tell us more about the work that you do before we get into the book.
Okay, so as you mentioned, I'm a life coach, speaker, and an author. So basically, I perform speaking engagements, sharing my story, also motivation engagements as well. I also personally coach people one-on-one who have trouble with difficulties in their lives or who are going through challenges. So I coach them through working through that to develop themselves, also to become the best version of themselves. And I just love watching that transformation within people. So I also hold workshops as well, and that's all I do when it comes to this. All that I do is all focused on self-love, focusing on the individual and their development.
And all of that, or a lot of that has been kind of like encompassed in this book, this little baby of yours now. You recently launched it, and the title is, it speaks for itself, How to Self-Love. So just take us through the content and why you've decided to write the book.
So I come from a very broken background, and I grew up in a household where I felt like I didn't belong. I felt unworthy, and time again, I was going through experiences that made me, or that showed me that I'm not enough. So I grew up with that mentality. So when I reached my teen years, I became somebody who wore a mask just so that I could fit in. That made me feel some kind of a belonging, even doing things that I didn't want to do just to fit in and feel some kind of love. But I felt unfulfilled with that. I felt like I lost myself because I was so concerned about people around me, about their comfort, putting myself last. So when I became pregnant with my first child, I realized that I was still broken. And something hit me halfway through my pregnancy, and I realized I have to do something about this because I cannot love this child if I don't know how to love myself. So that's when the journey started. I was just working on becoming a better mom. Better did I know, I was actually working on myself. I was working on loving myself. I was building that relationship with myself to just become a better me. So that's how the journey started with me to finally come to terms with loving who I am and accepting myself for who I am. And this is what I teach people as well.
And the book is already launched.
Yes.
How long has it been out so far?
I launched it the 1st of October.
Okay.
So I launched it, we had an amazing event. I was able to share a little bit about the book as well. And ever since then, I've just been doing as much as I can to spread the word, spread the self-love, and just teach people how they can really fall in love with themselves.
Now, without giving too much away from the book, because we definitely want to dive into it and indulge ourselves, how would you say, like, briefly, obviously it's such an extended conversation, but how does one begin to even, like, start the thought process of self-love? Like, where do we begin? What is the point A of this journey, would you say?
Yeah. I would say it's actually one of the hardest things that as human beings we find difficult to spend time with ourselves. That's where it starts. Because that's the only way we can get to know who we are. That's the only way we can learn more about ourselves. And so I say in the book, show up for yourself first. That is how you begin to self-love, because we have a tendency of putting ourselves last. Sometimes we even forget ourselves and sadly neglect ourselves. And when you show up for yourself, you show up for yourself not in a way to go to the spa or go to the gym or drink lots of water. You know, we say that a lot. That's self-care. It's part of self-love. But the self-love that I talk about in this book is deeper. It's more rooted. It's the ability to go within yourself. It's the ability to assess all areas of yourself and identify where am I deficient. Is it with my self-esteem? Is it with my confidence? Is it with myself as a parent, or who I am in my work and in my passions? And see where you're deficient and work on developing yourself in that area and just grow and expand from there. And at the same time, fall in love with who you are now. Accept yourself, all areas of yourself, whether good or bad, and know that you are growing either way, and look forward to who you are becoming and give yourself permission to grow.
I like that. I like that. Truly getting to know yourself. Like it's a beautiful process. I can't wait to dive into the book. Where can the listeners get this book? Where can they get their hands on a copy?
So for now, the book is only available through order. I just published it on Amazon, which is also not really available here. So through order for now. We'll be going to the bookshops in the next month. But for now, just dial 081-600-5746 and you will get a signed copy.
100%. And we actually have a copy to give away for today. And I'm just going to... The question, I mean, first caller, anyone that calls in, the first person who calls in gets their hands on a copy of this book. But the conversation, once again, is self-love. So I'm going to do this. Let's make it interesting. For those of you listening right now who have the 99 FM app, all I need you to do is text in or send us a voice note in the app and tell us 3 things that you love about yourself. I think we even have a caller on the line. And we just lost that caller. You can call back 061-383-484 is the number to call. You'll get your hands on this book. All you have to do is just tell me 3 things that you absolutely love about yourself. If you just tuned in, we have a phenomenal guest in the building, speaker, life coach, and author Ruth Hess, and we're talking all things her book that she just launched. It's how to self-love, a 21-day step-by-step guide. Now, Ruth, just some advice for the listeners out there heading into this festive season, especially after such a heavy 2 years that we've had, in isolating, and you spoke about, spending time with ourselves and getting to know ourselves, but we got to isolate without the cognizant time, without really sitting with ourselves. I mean, it was a lot of fear instilled in people's minds in these past 2 years, COVID, and just the pressure of coming out of COVID and the problems, the inner workings that we're still kind of dealing with. What advice or just any words of motivation do you have for the listeners out there heading into this festive season and starting a brand new year?
Oh, yeah. This has been one of the greatest lessons that I myself learned during the lockdown when we all didn't see it coming. And it was one of the greatest lessons I'd ever received, which was give yourself what you need from others. Because we have a tendency to need people to give us love consistently, appreciate us, accept us, acknowledge us. It makes us feel good. We're human, right? But the truth is those people might not always be there to give it to us. Those people might even go through bad days. They're human. They might lose something in their lives and completely change. And then who are we when we don't get that, right? When we don't get that, I call it the 5 A's: approval, appreciation, acknowledgement, acceptance, and affection. So we can be the ones to give that to ourselves. And this is a practice that I've been giving myself actually during the lockdown. And I find that it really boosted my self-esteem as well. So this is something I also incorporate in my workshops. I teach people little exercises they can do, like looking at yourself in the mirror first thing in the morning, showing up for yourself and saying, today I appreciate 1, 2, 3 about myself. I acknowledge 1, 2, 3 about myself, whether good or bad. I did the best that I can, and just giving yourself and showing yourself that which you need others to give you.
Oof, that's deep, and I assume the book is diving more into that. We actually have a caller on the line now. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, who am I speaking to?
Melissa.
Lala. Mela. Melissa. How are you, Melissa?
I'm good.
Melissa, do you want to get your hands on a copy of this book?
Oh, yes.
Is it? Oh, yeah.
Most
Okay.
definitely.
Firstly, where are you calling from? Let's get to know you. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Windhoek.
From Windhoek?
Dolam. Yes.
From Dolam. And are you enjoying this overcast weather that we have?
Oh, brah. It's amazing. It's, that baby-making weather, but unfortunately, I'm single.
Well, that's not the type of love we're talking about right now.
I know.
Melissa, tell me 3 things that you absolutely adore about yourself.
Okay. The first thing I really love about myself is how hard I love. And my personality, my kinky hair. I have big eyes. Oh my God, it's a lot. I have a long list.
And the list should be endless, because we should thoroughly love ourselves. Melissa, you've won yourself a copy of How to Self-Love, a 21-day step-by-step guide, and I know you're going to thoroughly enjoy this one. Please.
Thank you so much.
Please do hold the line for
Okay.
me. Okay, thank you so much, Melissa. And there you have it. We have a winner of the book. And Ruth, I appreciate you coming through. And you should definitely come back and have more of this conversation. I'm going to get myself a copy as well. And that way we could dive into the book and I can ask you a lot more questions. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for having me and providing this platform where we can share stuff like this.
100%. And that's what MYD Heart is all about. It's about the love we give the world, and we are part of the world. So it's also about the love we give ourselves. Thank you so much to our guest today, speaker, life coach, and author Ruth Hess. And we're diving into the next tune. When life gives you lemons, I implore you, make the lemonade.
MYD Heart was proudly brought to you by NHP.